Pip was crying again. The little Mirati pressed himself against the wall, his soft gray fur trembling. His large eyes leaked tears that floated slightly in the station's low gravity. He was barely knee-high to the 3 Velcrani students surrounding him. "Give us your meal tokens," said Kristallos, the tallest one. His crystalline skin caught the corridor lights and threw sharp rainbows across the walls. "All of them. For the whole week. Please," Pip whispered. "I will be so hungry." The Velcrani laughed. Their crystal bodies made a sound like breaking glass when they moved. They were beautiful in a dangerous way, and they knew it. Lily Ward watched from 20 meters away. She had been walking to her next class, keeping her head down like she always did. 3 weeks on this station, and she had learned the rules fast. Humans were new to the Galactic Union. Humans were on probation. Humans did not cause trouble. But Pip was so small, Kristallos cracked his knuckles. The sound was sharp and wrong. A threat that Lily's feet were moving before her brain caught up. She crossed the distance in seconds. She stepped between the Velcrani and the tiny Mirati. She bent down and picked Pip up, cradling him against her chest like a baby. "Hey!" Kristallos grabbed her shoulder. His crystalline fingers dug in hard. He spun her around. "What do you think you're doing, human?" Lily did not think. Her fist connected with his jaw. The crack echoed through the corridor. Not loud, but everyone heard it. Kristallos stumbled back. A visible line ran down his crystalline face. Not deep, but real. Nobody moved. Lily's heart was pounding so hard she thought it might burst out her chest. Pip clung to her shirt with his tiny paws. The other 2 Velcrani stared with their mouths open. Then Kristallos touched his face. His fingers found a crack. His expression went from shock to rage. "You hit me," he said. "A human hit me." Station security arrived in 3 minutes. Lily did not resist. She put Pip down gently and told him to run home. Then she stood still with her hands visible while 4 armed guards approached. The Velcrani diplomatic attaché was already making calls by the time they put the restraints on her wrists. Lily could hear fragments through the security channel. Unprovoked assault, damage to Velcrani citizen, humanity's probationary status. Demand full consequences. They marched her through corridors she had never seen. Deeper into the station. Past sections marked with warning signs in 12 languages. Past doors that got heavier and more reinforced. Detention block C. The guard at the entrance was a species Lily did not recognize. 6 arms. No visible eyes. A voice like grinding stones. Violent offenders only. "You sure about this one?" "She is small." She cracked a Velcrani's face. "She goes in." The door opened. The guard pushed Lily forward. She stumbled into a large common room with gray walls and harsh lights. 0.5 beings looked up at her. The first was massive. 8 feet tall, with 4 arms and tusks jutting from a jaw that could probably bite through steel. A Grothian. Lily had seen pictures, but never one in person. The second was insectoid. Thin limbs, compound eyes, mandibles clicking in what might be nervousness or hunger. A Skarathi. The third seemed to be made of plants. Green skin with patches that glowed faintly. Leaves instead of hair. It did not move much. The fourth was reptilian. Cold eyes watched Lily with calculating interest. Scales the color of dried blood. The fifth was a shadow. Literally, a vaguely humanoid shape made of darkness. Lily could not tell if it was looking at her or not. The door sealed behind her with a sound like a tomb closing. "Well," the Grothian rumbled. His voice was deep enough to vibrate in Lily's chest. "What do we have here?" Lily stood very still. Her heart was racing. Every instinct told her to run, but there was nowhere to go. "I am Lily," she said. Her voice only shook a little. "I am human." The Grothian leaned down. His face came close to hers. She could smell him now. Earth and iron and something wild. "I know what humans are. Deathworlders. Your planet tries to kill you every day and you survive anyway." He tilted his massive head. "What did you do?" "Little Deathworlder. I punched a Velcrani." Silence. The insectoid stopped clicking. The plant being's glow flickered brighter. The reptile's eyes widened just slightly. Even the shadow seemed to shift. "You punched a Velcrani." The Grothian straightened up. "Why?" "He was going to hurt someone. A Mirati. Just a kid." The Grothian looked at the others. Something passed between them. A communication Lily could not read. Then the massive being stepped back. He gestured to an empty sleeping pod against the far wall. That one is yours, Lily the human. Get some rest. Tomorrow will be long. Lily walked to the pod on shaking legs. She climbed in and pulled the thin blanket over herself. She did not sleep. Outside her pod, she could hear them talking in low voices. Different languages mixing together. But one word kept repeating, human, human, human. I in the darkness, surrounded by beings that could kill her without effort. Lily Ward wondered what she had gotten herself into. And somewhere in station, a little Mirati named Pip was drawing a picture. A tiny gray figure holding hands with a tall pink one. He would bring it to her tomorrow if she survived the night. Something was crying in the dark. Lily had been staring at the ceiling of her pod for hours. Sleep would not come. Every sound made her tense. Every shadow made her flinch. She was 14 years old and locked in a room with beings that could tear her apart. But that sound, that high-pitched keening, it was not a threat. That it was pain. She climbed out of her pod slowly. The common room was dim. Emergency lights only. She could see the shapes of the others in their sleeping areas. The massive bulk of the Grothian. The still form of the plant being. The reptile curled in a tight ball. The crying came from the Skarathi. Lily crossed the room on bare feet. The floor was cold. She sat down next to the insectoid's pod and waited. The crying stopped. Compound eyes reflected what little light there was. You come close in the dark. The Skarathi's voice was clicks and whistles that somehow formed words. Skarathi are predators. We hunt in darkness. You are scared, Lily said simply. Same as me. A long pause. Then the Skarathi made a sound that might have been a laugh. I am Skitter. That is what they call me here. I do not like my real name. I am Lily. What are you scared of, Skitter? Everything. The mandibles clicked rapidly. I'm not supposed to be here. I was just lost. I was trying to find a medical bay. My clutch sister was sick. I got confused. Security found me in a restricted area. They did not believe me. Is your sister okay? She died 3 days ago. I was not there. Lily did not know what to say. She reached out slowly and placed her hand on Skitter's thin arm. The chitin was smooth and cool. Skitter went very still. Then, slowly, he leaned into the touch. They sat like that until the lights came on. When the nutrition dispensers activated, something had changed. The Grothian brought Lily her meal tray. He set it down in front of her and nodded once. I am Grom, he said. You have courage, little one. Sitting with Skitter in the dark. Not many would do that. Skitter was already at her side, clicking happily. He seemed like a different being in the light. The plant creature drifted over. Up close, Lily could see that she was beautiful. Green skin with golden veins. Flowers blooming in her leaf-like hair. She did not speak with words. Instead, her bioluminescent patches flickered in patterns. That is Bloom, Grom translated. She says good morning. She says you smell like kindness. Lily felt her face go red. Thank you, Bloom. Bloom's patches glowed brighter. A small flower fell from her hair. She picked it up and placed it in Lily's hand. The reptile approached last. His scales made a dry whisper as he moved. His eyes were yellow with slit pupils. Everything about him said danger. Rend, he said, just the one word. Then he sat down across from Lily and began eating. Only the shadows stayed back. No, the others called it. Or maybe that was just what they called it, because they did not know what it really was. It hovered in the corner, watching, always watching. So, Grom said between bites of something that looked like purple meat. You punched a Velcrani for a Mirati. I want to understand. Why? Lily thought about it. He was just a kid. They were going to hurt him. But you knew what would happen. Your species is new. On probation. You must have known they would punish you. I did not think about it. I just saw him, and I had to help. Grom looked at the others. You see? This is what I told you about humans. They cannot help it. They see someone in pain, and they act. No calculation. No benefit analysis. They just help. Foolish, Ren said. But there was something in his voice that was not mockery. Beautiful. Bloom's lights spelled out that Skitter's mandibles clicked in what Lily was starting to recognize as agreement. a guard's voice came through the speaker. Ward, you have a visitor. Lily walked to the reinforced viewing window. Her heart jumped. Pip was there, the little mirror from the corridor. He pressed against the glass with his tiny paws. In one hand, he held a drawing a gray mirror and a pink human. Holding hands. Above them, he had written one word in shaky letters, friend. Behind Pip stood an adult mirror. Female, Lily guessed, though she was not sure how she knew. The adult's eyes met Lily's through the glass. There was so much emotion in them that Lily had to look away. Gratitude. Hope. Something that looked almost like worship. Your family, Grum said softly. He had come to stand beside her. Not by blood, but family. Lily pressed her hand against the glass. Pip pressed his paw to the same spot. I just did what was right, she whispered. Yes, Grum rumbled. And that is why they will never forget you. The guard called time. Pip was led away, waving until he disappeared around the corner. The adult Mirati bowed once to Lily, deep and formal, before following. When Lily turned back to the common room, all of them were watching her. Grum, Skitter, Bloom, Rend, even Null had moved closer. What? Lily asked. Nothing, Grum said, but he was almost smiling. Get some rest, little Death Worlder. Tomorrow, they decide what happens to you. Lily returned to her pod. This time she slept, and she dreamed of tiny paws and big eyes and a single word written in shaky letters, friend. Bloom left a flower outside Lily's pod every morning. WY Day 3. There were 3 small blooms lined up like soldiers. Pink and gold and deep purple. Lily did not know where Bloom got the colors. Maybe she made them herself. That morning, a guard brought formal documents. Lily's hearing was scheduled for tomorrow. The Velcroni wanted her expelled, her family's posting revoked, and sanctions placed on human traders. Her parents had worked 12 years for this posting. 12 years of hauling cargo through dangerous space. 12 years of saving and sacrificing. Gone in 3 weeks because Lily could not walk past a crying child. She sat in the common area and stared at nothing. The others gave her space at first. Then Skitter settled beside her, his mandibles quiet for once. Then Bloom drifted over, her lights dim and soft. Then Grom sat down with a heavy thump that shook the floor. Even Ren moved closer, though he pretended to be doing something else. Tell us, Grom said. Yes, oh, Lily did. Everything. Her parents. The years of work. How much this posting meant. How she had destroyed it all. Why did you do it? Ren asked, his cold eyes fixed on her. You knew the cost. Humans always calculate. Your species survived by being smart. I did not calculate anything. I just saw Pip, and I could not let them hurt him. Yes. Ren's voice was strange. You could not. That is the thing, is it not? You simply could not. Silence fell. Then Grom spoke. I am here because I stopped adult Velcroni from beating a Grothian half-blood. The child died anyway, from wounds they gave him before I arrived. But I was charged because the Velcroni families had power. Skitter clicked softly. I told him my story. Lost and scared. My sister dying. They did not care. Bloom's lights flickered. Images formed in the glow. A small plant being reaching toward light. Walls everywhere. Darkness. Then growing through a wall, desperate for sun. Guards coming. Fear. She was dying, Grom translated. Without light, her kind withers. They would not move her to a room with windows. So she grew through the wall to reach the sun. They called it destruction of property. All eyes turned to Rend. The reptile was quiet for a long moment. His scales shifted color slightly, going darker. My father sold my younger siblings to a labor collective. I stopped him. A pause. Permanently. Lily understood. She did not judge. Then everyone looked at Null. The shadow form shifted. For a moment, Lily thought it would stay silent as always. But then shapes moved inside the darkness. Images like blooms, but made of shadow and memory. A ship. Small, crowded. Fire blooming in the void. Bodies drifting. A small shadow, alone, floating through debris. Running. Always running. No home. No people. No voice to speak with. Refugee. Survivor. Forgotten. Null was found on the station, Grom said quietly. No identity. No records. They put null here because they did not know what else to do. Lily's eyes were wet. She wiped them with the back of her hand. We are all broken, she said. All of us. Yes, Grom agreed. But broken things can still fit together. That night, something changed in Detention Block C. They moved their sleeping pods closer. Not touching, but near. Bloom let her roots spread under the floor, connecting them all in ways Lily could not see but somehow felt. They were not just cellmates anymore. There was something else. Pack, Grom called it in his language. Swarm, Skitter clicked. Collective, Ahoy said. Root family, Bloom spelled in light. Null said nothing. But the shadow moved between them all, touching each briefly. Cold but not unpleasant. Like being seen. When the guard announced lights out, Lily lay in her pod and felt something she had not felt since arriving on the station. She was not alone. The next morning, a new guard came with different news. Ward, your legal representative has arrived. Lily expected a junior human official, someone sent to manage the damage. Instead, through the viewing window, she saw Pip. He was not alone. Behind him stood an adult Mirati in formal robes. And behind her stood 6 more Mirati. And behind them, visible through the station's main viewport, hung a ship Lily had never seen before, sleek. Beautiful, marked with symbols she did not recognize. The Mirati Collective, Grom breathed. They sent a diplomatic vessel. Whisper of Streams, Pip's mother, pressed her paw against the glass. Her eyes met Lily's. I am your advocate, she said through the speaker. The Mirati do not forget those who protect our children. Tomorrow, we fight for you. Lily's hand trembled as she touched the glass. Why? She whispered. I'm nobody, just a human girl. Whisper Upstream smiled. It was a gentle expression on her small face. You saw my son. You stood between him and harm. You asked for nothing in return. Her voice was soft but strong. In all my years, I have never seen anyone do that for a Mirati. You are not nobody, Lily Ward. You are hope. The connection ended. The Mirati delegation moved away to prepare. Lily turned to find her detention family watching. Well, Rin said, and there was something new in his voice. It seems tomorrow will be interesting. Grom laughed. The sound was like thunder. Rest now, little Death Worlder. Tomorrow, you show them what humans are made of. Lily returned to her pod. The 3 flowers sat on her small shelf. Pink and gold and purple. Hope, she thought. Maybe that was not such a small thing after all. The hearing chamber was designed to make you feel small. Curved walls rose to a ceiling so high it disappeared into shadow. Tiered seating held hundreds of observers from dozens of species. In the center, a single platform waited for the accused. Lily walked to that platform alone. 14 years old. Small even by human standards. Facing beings who had traveled between stars when her ancestors were still learning to farm. The Velcrani prosecutor was named Prism of Justice. He stood 12 feet tall, his crystalline body catching every light in the room. Rainbows danced across the walls when he moved. He had won cases since before Lily's grandparents were born. The charges are simple, he began. Unprovoked assault. Physical damage to a Velcrani citizen. A clear violation of station law and an insult to the Velcrani people. He turned to face the council. 5 ancient beings from 5 founding species sat in judgment. They looked bored already. Humanity is on probation within the Galactic Union. This violence shows they're not ready for membership. We demand full consequences. Whisper of Streams rose. She barely reached Lily's shoulder. Her voice was soft. Her presence seemed small. But when she spoke, the entire chamber went quiet. We would like to present evidence of a pattern. The next hour changed everything. Point one by one, the Mirati delegation presented cases. Velcrani students harassing smaller species. Reports filed and ignored. Witnesses threatened into silence. Complaints that vanished into bureaucratic darkness. Decades of documentation. Hundreds of incidents. Thousands of victims. Species too small to fight back. Too weak to be heard. Too unimportant to matter. Lily Ward did what none of us could do, Whisper of Streams said. She stood up, not for her own kind, not for profit, for a child of another species who had no one else. Prism of Justice objected loudly. This is not relevant to the charges. This is an attack on Velcrani honor. The council president was old. So old that no one remembered what species she had been before evolution took her in strange directions. She raised one appendage, and the chamber fell silent. We will hear all relevant testimony. Her voice crackled like ancient paper, including testimony from the accused companions. The doors opened. Grom entered first. 8 feet of muscle and tusks. The observers shifted nervously. Then Skitter, mandibles clicking. Then Bloom, leaving a trail of small flowers. Then Rend, his scales catching the light like dried blood. And finally Null, simply appearing as if the shadow had always been there. The detention inmates. Called as character witnesses, Grom spoke first. His deep voice filled the chamber without effort. The first night, I tested her. I am Grothian. We test everyone. She did not flinch. She did not beg. She told me what she did and why. He looked at the council. She did not calculate. She could not walk past a child in pain, even knowing the cost. Skitter stepped forward. I was crying in the dark. She came to me. Skarathi are predators. We hunt in darkness. She did not care. She sat with me and held my arm until morning. Bloom projected images through her bioluminescence. Lily examining flowers. Lily asking about her needs. Lily talking to guards about getting more light in the block. Ren spoke last. His cold voice carried clearly. I have killed. I have been hard. I have trusted no one for good reason. He met Lily's eyes. She looked at me and saw past what I did. She saw me, and she was not afraid. Null moved forward. The chamber tensed. Everyone watched the shadow form with fear. Slowly, images appeared within the darkness. A burning ship, bodies in the void, a small shadow drifting alone through endless cold. Then a new image, a human hand reaching out. Lily offering her meal, tray to Null. The shadow flickered. And for the first time ever, something like a voice emerged. One word. Soft as wind. Kind. The chamber was absolutely silent. The whisper of streams stepped forward. You see what humanity offers the galaxy. Not technology. Not power. Something rarer. A species that cannot walk past suffering. A species that will stand between danger and a stranger's child. She turned to Prism of Justice. You call it assault. We call it exactly what this union was built to protect. The council deliberated for 6 minutes. Lily Ward was cleared of all charges. Self-defense while protecting another was recognized under union law. The Velcrani students involved were placed under investigation, and humanity's probationary record received its first positive notation. Species demonstrates protective instincts extending beyond self-interest. When Lily stepped off the platform, Whisper of Streams was waiting. She pressed something into Lily's hand, a small crystal that glowed with inner light. The Mirati Collective formally adopts you as protected friend. It is unprecedented for a human. The small being smiled. But so are you. Behind her, Lily's detention family waited. Not going back to their pods. Not separating. Waiting for her. Grum nodded once. Skitter clicked happily. Bloom's lights danced with joy. Rend almost smiled. And Null existed beside them, part of something at last. Lily looked at the crystal in her hand. Then at her strange, broken, beautiful family. What now? She asked. Grom's laugh was like thunder. Now, little Deathworlder, we show them what we can do together. The hearing chamber emptied around them. Observers whispered about what they had seen. A human girl. A detention block of misfits. A single act of kindness that might change everything. Lily Ward did not know it yet, but this was only the beginning. Lily's access card stopped working on a Tuesday. 3 days after her release. 3 days after the hearing that should have ended everything. She stood outside her classroom while the door beeped red over and over. System error, the guard said when she asked. These things happen. But her meal tokens also failed that day. And her homework disappeared from the station network. And her parents received their 14 cargo inspection in 7 days. The Velcrani could not touch Lily directly. The Mirati crystal around her neck made her protected. Attacking her meant attacking the entire Mirati collective. That Oh, they attacked everything around her instead. Grum found her in the corridor that evening. She was sitting against the wall, staring at nothing. He lowered himself down beside her, his massive body making the floor groan. "They're trying to break you," he said. "They're trying to break my family. My parents could lose everything." "Yes." Grum was quiet for a moment. "What will you do?" Lily looked at her hands. Small hands. Human hands. "I do not know." The others came. Skitter had news. He had been monitoring station networks since his release. Turns out unauthorized access was just another way of saying really good at computers. "The Velcroni are not alone," he clicked rapidly. "There is a group. Many species. They work together to keep the weak ones down. The small species do labor. Handle waste. Process food. The powerful ones take the profit." "A consortium," Ren said. His scales had gone dark. "I have heard whispers. Never proof. Now we have proof." Skitter's compound eyes reflected the corridor lights. "But proof means nothing if no one cares." Bloom's lights flickered. "A question. She asked what we can do." Grom translated. "We are just released prisoners. Broken things." Lily stood up slowly. The Mirati crystal glowed against her chest. "Pip believed in me. A tiny Mirati child believed a stranger would help him." She looked at her friends. "There must be others. Other small species. Other weak ones. People who have been waiting for someone to stand up first." Whisper Upstreams arrived the next morning with a delegation. But not just Mirati this time. The Trill came. Energy beings barely visible to most species. They processed all station communications. The Dendry came. Fungal networks that lived in the walls and maintained life support systems. The Synthum came. Artificial beings built to do jobs no one else wanted. Cleaning, maintenance, repair, dozens of species. All of them small. All of them overlooked. All of them invisible. "We watch your hearing," Whisper Upstream said. "We saw what you did. What your friends did. We have waited a long time," a Trill representative pulsed. "Waited for someone who would stand. We have numbers," a Dendry voice whispered from the walls. "We have access. We have never had hope." Lily felt the weight of their attention. All these beings looking at her like she had answers. "I am 14, she said. "I am nobody." "You are human," Grum said softly. "Your species comes from a world that tries to kill you every day. You survive anyway. You fight for strangers. You cannot help it." "That is not nobody," Rend added. "That is exactly what we need." The plan came together over 3 days. Simple in concept, terrifying in execution. Every overlooked species would stop working. Simultaneously, for 1 hour, communications would stutter. Life support would fluctuate. Food processing would pause. The station would feel, for 60 minutes, exactly how much it depended on the beings it ignored. And Lily would deliver the message. The night before the action, the consortium struck first. Lily's parents were detained. Their cargo ship impounded. The charge was smuggling contraband. The evidence was fake. Everyone knew it was fake. But without intervention, her parents would disappear into private consortium facilities. No rights. No trial. No contact. The action was scheduled for 800 hours. Lily's parents were in docking Bay 7. "We can get them," Ren said. His eyes gleamed in the dim light. "Bay 7 security is good, but we are better." "And the action?" Lily asked. Her voice was steady even though her heart was breaking. Silence. If they rescued her parents, the consortium would know something was coming. They would prepare. They would crush the movement before it started. Thousands of beings counting on the action. 2 beings in Bay 7. Lily closed her eyes. She thought of Pip's drawing. The tiny Mirati and the tall human holding hands. She thought of Null's single word. Kind. She thought of her mother's face. Her father's laugh. Then she opened her eyes. "Both," she said. "We do both." Grom grinned, showing all his tusks. "Ow, we split up. Some of us rescue my parents. The rest make sure the action happens on time." She looked at each of them in turn. "I need you to trust me." Skitter clicked rapidly. "Always." Bloom's lights spelled one word. "Yes." Ren nodded once, sharp and certain. Null simply moved closer, their shadow form wrapping briefly around Lily like a cold embrace. Grom stood, his massive frame filling the corridor. "Tell us the plan, little Death Worlder." "We are ready." Lily began to speak. Outside, the station continued its endless rotation around a distant star. Thousands of beings lived and worked and slept, unaware that everything was about to change, that in 6 hours, the Forgotten would be invisible no more, and one human girl would show them all what standing up really meant. 7:55. 5 minutes until everything changed. Lily stood in the central broadcast hub. The Trill had already prepared access. In 5 minutes, her face would appear on every screen on the station. Behind her, Skitter worked furiously at the communication arrays. His mandibles clicked in a rhythm that meant concentration. In Docking Bay 7, the rescue was happening right now. Grom had gone first. Loud, obvious, a distraction that no one could ignore. 8 feet of Grothian rage tearing through cargo containers. Bloom had spread through the bay's organic systems. Lights flickered. Air recyclers coughed. The guards did not know where to look. Rend and Null moved like shadows. 2 guards stood between them and the holding cells. 2 seconds later, 2 guards lay unconscious on the ground. Lily's parents were confused and scared when the door opened. Her mother started to scream until Rend clamped a scaled hand over her mouth. "Your daughter sent us," he hissed. "Be quiet and follow." They ran. 7:58. Skitter's mandibles went still. "We are ready. Full station broadcast on your signal." Lily took a deep breath. She thought of Pip, of his drawing, of the word he had written in shaky letters. Friend. She thought of her detention family. Broken beings who had found each other in the dark. She thought of all the small species waiting, watching, hoping. 7:59. "Now," she said. Her face appeared on every screen, every display, every personal device on the station. "My name is Lily Ward. I am 14 years old. I am human." She paused. Around her, she felt the station beginning to change. The Trill dimmed the lights. The Dendry made the walls hum. The Synthim stopped moving in the corridors. 3 weeks ago, I punched a Velcrani in the face because he was going to hurt a child. They threw me in detention. They tried to destroy my family. They thought I would break. She looked directly into the recording sensor. "I'm still here, and I'm not alone." 800 hours, the action began. The station did not shut down. That was never the real plan. Instead, for 1 hour, every overlooked species made themselves visible. The Trill shimmered into view, energy patterns dancing through corridors where beings had walked past them for years without seeing. The Dendry glowed through the walls, their fungal networks lighting up like veins of gold. The Synthim stood still. Every cleaning bot, every maintenance unit, every artificial being that kept the station running. They stopped and turned to face the beings who had ignored them. On every screen, faces appeared one after another. The weak, the small, the forgotten. Each one spoke the same words. "We are here. We matter. We will not be invisible." In Bay 7, Grom led Lily's parents through the chaos. Security was everywhere, but no one knew what to look for. The station was coming alive around them. This way, Bloom's lights guided from the ventilation systems. Clear path ahead, Null shadows reported. They reached the safe house just as the hour ended. Lily's mother was crying. Her father looked 10 years older, but they were alive. They were free. Lily arrived minutes later. Her mother grabbed her so hard it hurt. "What have you done?" her father whispered. "What have you started?" Lily pulled back and looked at them, at her strange family gathered around her. At the station outside the window, forever changed. Something that should have happened a long time ago. The aftermath was not easy. The consortium tried to spin it as terrorism, sabotage, human corruption of innocent species, but there were too many witnesses, too many recordings, too many beings who finally had proof that they were not alone. The Galactic Union opened an investigation, not just into the Velcrani, into the entire system that had kept the small and weak in their place for centuries. 3 months later, Lily was back in class. Her parents' posting was secured with backing from 37 species associations. The Velcrani students had been transferred. Pip sat next to her in interspecies relations. He still did not talk much. But his drawings had gotten more elaborate. A Mirati, a human girl, a massive Grothian, a twitchy Skarathi, a glowing Florian, a cold-scaled Cathori, a shadow that could be anything. Family, the label said in Pip's careful writing. Grom ran a cultural exchange program now. Skitter had his own news network. Bloom sat on the environmental board. Rin worked with troubled youth. Null still did not speak. But they existed openly, a reminder that some beings were beyond understanding and still worthy of respect. That night, Lily's door chimed. She opened it to find all of them waiting. Movie night, Grom announced, holding up a data chip. Skitter found old human films. They piled into her small quarters. Grothian taking most of the floor. Skarathi clicking contentedly. Florian glowing softly. Cathori pretending not to smile. Shadow existing peacefully in the corner. The movie was ancient. Something called The Breakfast Club. Lily laughed until her stomach hurt as the credits rolled. She looked at her family. These broken, beautiful beings who had found each other in detention. Thank you, she said quietly. For everything. Grum rumbled something in Grothian. What does that mean? Lily asked. It means, Skitter translated, that family does not need thanks. Family just is. Bloom placed a flower in Lily's hair. Purple this time, her favorite color. Outside the window, the station turned slowly against the stars. Thousands of beings lived and worked and dreamed. And somewhere, a tiny Mirati was making a new drawing. This one showed the whole station. Above it, in letters that were getting steadier every day, he had written one word. Home.